Hi, we're going to make calculator buttons. This is my third attempt, so let's see if I can get this right this time. I think I got it down this time, so you should be in for a smooth ride. Um, so we've got our buttons, and the first thing that I'd like to do is I'd like to make it so that you can clear them out, because it's annoying not to be able to clear. I may have a few differences in what's going on in my HTML. Most notably, I changed the button for button plus to operation pressed, and I pass in a plus symbol here. And if we wanted to make a minus, I'm going to say there's a minus here, and we'll call this minus. So I'm making another button. And you can do the same thing with multiply and divide, and you can do that outside of this time. So we do also want to have an equal pressed, which we'll call a different function called equal pressed, and a clear pressed. So we're going to jump on the clear pressed first, and that's the function that gets called when you press the C button. So let's get started. Now, something that I would like us to change here before we do too much is I would like to start keeping track of our numbers in our JavaScript. So I'm going to say var current number equals 0. I'm going to say var current operation equals nothing, and I'm going to say var stored number equals 0. Now, when you are using a calculator, typically if you press a button like 4 and then you hit the plus and then you press 9, the 4 will disappear. Now the 4 is still remembered because when you hit equals, you get 13. So we need to remember two numbers at any given time, the current number and the stored number. Now we're not going to read the current number off of the display anymore. We're going to keep track of it. And every time that we press a number, we're going to keep track of it in current number, and then we're going to set the display to what we're keeping track of. So they're going to match. And our 0.00 and our 0 here are starting off in the same place. So that's not going to cause any problems at the moment. And if I test it, I can see my numbers are still working just fine. But then when I say clear pressed, I'm going to take all of these numbers, current number, stored number, and current operation. I'm going to set them back to where they are. So clear press. Now, I can't use the variable names here because they've already been declared at the top. So you got to get rid of those VARs. If you don't, that would make them local variables, and then they'd only be cleared out in this function. So we want to clear them out, and then we want to display the cleared text. That's really all you need to do for. That's almost all you need to do for this. So we've got this. You hit clear, goes back to 0. Got this. You hit clear, goes back to 0. Now I say it's almost all you need to do because you also do need to comment your function. I have had you recently comment like every line of code. That's a little overkill. This is called good commenting. Is you at least comment each function that you have. So clear pressed. Let's put the name here. There's no input here. It's just being clicked, and all we're doing is we are resetting our display and memory. And so we do want to say what each function is doing. If it's got inputs, we want to say what the inputs are. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at when we do operation pressed. And that's going to have any math operation passed into it. So we're going to say function operation pressed. And then call it OP for the operator. So we're going to say current operation is going to be whatever we pass in. And then what we need to do is we need to say, okay, let's remember the operation. And we're going to store that in current operation. So now that variable is going to store whatever OP is. And then we're going to store our, oh, I already did that, sorry. And we're going to store our stored number is going to equal our current number, and our current number is going to equal 0. So we remember what number we just had, we hit plus, and now when we're going to start typing again, we're going to display the new number that we start typing. We're not going to show the display at this point though, because when you typically press buttons on a calculator, when you hit plus, it sits there for a second, and then when you start the next, it resets. Now, equal isn't doing anything yet because we haven't written that function yet, and we're going to do that next. So equal press is the name of the function. And so when you press equal, we're going to say, well, what's our current operation? So we're going to say if current operation is equal to a plus, then what we want to do is we want to take the current number, and we're going to add to it the stored number. And then we're going to update this display. We will then take the stored number, set that to 0 because it's no longer being stored because it was added. And then at the end of this, so if we have a plus, current number equals the stored number equals nothing, and then, oh, and the operation also equals nothing now. And then we display it, and then we have to close the function. Remember, every time you have an open brace, you must have a closing brace. And so we have a if statement, and it only does this stuff if it's a plus, and then it updates the display. So even if you didn't have a plus in there. And now the other thing that we want to do is, if you have a calculator, if you do 5 plus 5 equals should work at this point. It's 10. But if you do 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, it should be summing it as you go. So when you press the plus symbol, you're actually doing an equal and then another plus. So we're going to just do equal pressed. And let's see what happens now. And this should look pretty good. So it's 5 plus 5 plus, and it shows us the 10, 5 plus, and that's working, 5 minus 9 equals, now there's let's see what's going on with minus. Oh, it is passing in the minus, so I'm just kind of surprised that didn't work right there. Equals, okay, let's clear out. Let's say 8 minus 2 equals, oh, so what we need to do now is we need to say, wait, what happens if we get a minus sign? So we're going to minus, and then instead of adding our current number and our stored number, we're going to, it's the stored number, so we're going to say current number equals the stored number minus the current number. Actually up top here, we should probably do it this way, just so it's consistent. Should put it this way, because really it's the stored number plus the current number. Now the operation order isn't going to matter here. Down here it will. And so now, let's refresh. 4 plus 9 minus 3 equals 10. So we've got a working calculator. I'd like you to do your multiplication and your division without me, and we will get on with the next part in the next video. Thank you.